You have diabetes and other complications. Same goes with your mental health. You need stress. Stress is good for you. Stress pushes you, motivates you to do the things that you may not have done without the stress. For example, exam is a form of a stress, but it can push you to do productive things like studying, go to study groups, ask questions, discuss things, think about the subject matter in the class. So that kind of stress is something that we shouldn't shy away from. In fact, we should celebrate and we should invite more of that kind of stress, because that is the kind of stress that makes our life, exciting, it makes our life a bit more interesting, because life without stress is, to put it frankly, it's kind of a boring life if you don't have any stress. And I know we throw around this idea of having a stress-free life, which is okay as like a saying, but you shouldn't mean it literally. Because if we literally live without stress, there's this like silly example that I like to give, but it's true if you think about it. If, let's say, for example, there is no stress whatsoever, what does it mean? It means that you don't have any motivation or any drive or any push to take action. That's what life without stress feels like. You have no drive to take action. You're just blank. You just don't feel anything. You don't have any pressure to take action. For example, if I put my hand on something hot, that stress caused me to lift my hand up. It caused me to take action. If I see a dog chasing me, I'm going to run away, because that is the kind of stress that motivates me to take action to save myself. But let's say I don't have any stress. That dog comes to me and I feel no stress. You know what will happen? You guessed it. I'll be the first one who will get mauled by the dog. Now, it's a silly example, but it's real. That's why we can't say things like, oh, I wish I would remove all my stress. Because in a way, if you think a bit deeper, it is a ni'mah. It is one form of a blessing to have this kind of stress in our life. But then again, like I said, just like with the sugar level example, you need to manage it so that it doesn't go overboard, and something beneficial can be harmful if you go overboard, So one method that I would like to share with you today, how you manage your stress, is a method that I use basically on a daily basis. It's called positive self-talk. This is a term used even in the psychology literature. So you can find it in the journals. You can even Google it if you want to read more about it. But positive self-talk is something that I have practiced myself. I even teach others how to do the same. But here I would like to just cover the basics of what positive self-talk is all about before this. So positive self-talk basically means how you speak with yourself, you do it positively. All right. This may sound tricky for those of you who are not used to talking with yourself. And I'm not talking about like talking with yourself in a problematic sense, like you see some people talking to themselves out loud as if they hear a voice. That's something else. That's something that Dr. Bibi mentioned before about psychosis. That's something else. What I'm referring to is our normal inner dialogue. Whether you realize it or not, we are in our minds right now speaking with ourselves. Let's say, for example, this very morning, you wake up and you see yourself in the mirror. What do you say to yourself? Right? That is a self-talk. Now, if we're not aware, if we're not careful about this self-talk that we are engaging with ourselves on a daily basis, we may be indulging in negative self-talk and not even realizing it. And here's the interesting thing about not realizing this negative self-talk. It doesn't matter whether you realize it or not. Negative self-talk will always affect your emotion, right? Just imagine that. You don't notice it happening, but it is affecting you. You may end up in a situation where you feel a certain negative emotion and then you don't know why, right? And if you dig deeper, maybe it's because of the things that you say to yourself. Like when you're presenting in front of your peers in class or in your workplace, you may feel all this negative emotion about yourself.